background checks, safe storage, extreme risk protection orders. These are basic tools that we can easily use now so that we can avoid more deaths in the future. Nobody should have to walk into a classroom fearing their lives. I should not have to walk into a classroom preparing both a lesson on Spanish poetry from the 1920s and also preparing a lesson on how to survive a massacre.
Yeah, brother.
And I should not have to hand out syllabi wondering how many of my students I will be able to save if such a massacre were to happen. We must do better for our students. Not tomorrow, not in the next term, right now. So today, we urge the Michigan legislature to move this legislation quickly and bring it to Governor Whitmer's desk now. If we really value our students and education as much as we love to say, we have to match our actions with our words. Anything else is just noise. Thank you.
Thank you. I would now like to introduce Lila and Zoe Hayden, two siblings, one who survived the Oxford shooting and one who survived the Michigan State University shooting. And both members of March for Our Lives, with Zoe being the president of the March for Our Lives Michigan State University chapter.
Hello, my name is Lila Hayden, and I'm a junior at Oxford High School and a survivor of the Oxford High School shooting.
Hi, my name is Zoe Hayden, and I am Lila's sister, a junior at Michigan State University and the co-president of March for Our Lives MSU, also known as Spartans Against Gun Violence.
By the time I was only 6 years old, I had lived in 3 different countries, Australia, South Korea, and now the US. As a traveling young child, I learned many things that I knew I would need for my future. I learned how to read, I learned how to write, how to share, to play, and add numbers. However, I also learned some things that I never could have imagined I would have needed. Themes behind fairy tales, who the 6th president was, and how to use my desk as a shield and barricade the door just in case somebody wanted to shoot me. About twice a year, we would have alert, lockdown, inform, counter, and evacuate, or ALICE training, and lockdown drills. I remember in my freshman year at Oxford, one of my classes made a competition out of who could put the night lock securely into place into the door the fastest during a training session. To most of my classmates and I, mass shootings were not much more than a devastating story on the news. On November 30th, 2021, our lives became that tragic story. As I shook, clutching a pair of scissors in my classroom, I called my sisters and wondered if this was the last time I would ever speak to them. I have never experienced more fear, confusion, and sadness than I had in the following hours. Our community lost 3 incredible people on that day and another the next: Hannah St. Juliana, Tate Meir, Madison Baldwin, and Justin Schilling. Since then, my sister and I have been passionately advocating against gun violence with March for Our Lives.
After Oxford, I was in disbelief. I was so heartbroken and changed by the events that day, knowing what Lila went through, what the community went through, what those kids didn't all get to live through. So we took action. We pushed for change, for stricter gun safety laws. We put so much effort into making a difference in this issue. But not even 2 years later, it happened again, just a few miles away at MSU, my second home. We should not have to frantically text our friends asking if they are alive because there is a shooter. We should not have to do that twice. My parents should not have to have 2 of their children text them, telling them that they love them in case they get shot and can never say it again. The fear that I experienced both of those nights will never leave me. 3 more students died here: Alex Berner, Brian Fraser, and Ariel Anderson. 3 more incredible people with entire lives ahead of them. 3 more people taken by gun violence. I can't think of a single person that I am friends with in America who has not had gun violence directly affect their life. That is unacceptable.
We don't want to have to live every day scared for our loved ones' lives as well as our own. As our oldest sister, Adri, works as a teacher in an elementary school, we fear for her safety every day, as well as for the lives of her second grade students. We should not have to have this fear, this terrifying reality that somebody will be next unless we act now. I now know over a dozen people who have personally experienced their second mass shooting in under 2 years. This should not be normal.
I helped start the MSU chapter of March for Our Lives this semester as I saw how many students wanted to get involved near them. And we have worked to further this movement and maintain momentum so it is not necessary for horrible events to keep happening before anyone takes notice. Because it shouldn't take more mass shootings, more community violence, more of these terrible events that result in death time and time again because of guns for people to take notice. It is time for everyone to work to make a difference. I urge everyone to vote in every election for officials we know will fight for more gun security laws and mental health opportunities, such as requiring a permit for all firearm purchases and funding for community violence intervention, and vote them in. We need to put pressure on the politicians already in office to ensure that these laws get passed just like we are today. It is time for us all to come together and demand a safer future for ourselves and our loved ones. We can make this change. We can stop this violence.
Thank you both. They are incredible. I would now like to introduce Charlotte Plotsky, a Michigan State University survivor and a activist who recently led a rally right here in the Capitol.
Thank you all for being here. Like Micah said, I was one of the students that joined them to testify in front of the House and Senate Judiciary Committee hearings, but I wasn't able to share my voice, so I appreciate you being here today to listen to my story. My name is Charlotte Plotsky, and I am a junior communications and music double major at Michigan State. I am 20 years old. My story is similar to many of yours. It began at 5 years old when my parents sent me to kindergarten. I still remember the first lockdown drill we did. The room was dark and silent. My teacher whispers, "Friends, I understand that these topics are scary, but I doubt this will ever happen. You are safe here. This is just a drill." The year is 2007. On December 14th, 2012, an AR-15 took the lives of 26 staff and students at Sandy Hook Elementary. I saw my parents cry together, and I blankly stared at the television as the news panned out. I was in 5th grade. My parents are both teachers. This happened to those kids and teacher in Connecticut. Does that mean it could happen to me, to my little brother, to my parents? I became anxious to go to school. I'll repeat that. I became anxious to go to school at 10 years old. February 14th, 2018, Parkland. I will never forget that day. I was glued to Twitter. I will never forget the things I read, the things I saw, the videos of students lying dead in the hallway, audio recordings of gunshots with students sobbing in the background, 17 students and 17 staff and students dead, thoughts and prayers to the victims and their families, all because of an AR-15. November 30th, 2021, Oxford High School. Once again, America failed. They failed not only Madison, Hannah, Tate, and Justin, but the hundreds of students who not only have to live with the trauma of hiding under their desks with gunshots ringing in their ears, but without their friends. All because of an AR-15. And I want to say that I am so proud of those who are standing with us today and who have shared their story. May 24th, Uvalde, Texas, another elementary school. More children dead, more thoughts and more prayers. Recently, it was revealed that they didn't take initiative when arriving at the school in which young children were being shot because the police were scared to face the shooter's AR-15. I'll repeat that. The police were scared to face an AR-15 while children were dying and being shot. On February 13th, 2023, it happened to our community at Michigan State University. I'll never forget the hundreds of texts I was both sending and receiving that night. But I shouldn't have to send these texts. I shouldn't be carrying the worries of my friends getting shot in their evening classes. I shouldn't be scared for the lives of my friends who live on campus or happen to go to the Union for late night. I shouldn't be scared for my roommate who works on campus and my friends who are RAs. Working at the front desk of a dorm hall or a building on campus doesn't have help students hide and shelter from an active shooter on the job description. The absolute love we have for each other and this school shines bright to this day as we are helping each other get through this tragedy. Our community has come together to love, to grieve, and now today we fight. Alexandria, Brian, and Ariel, three beautiful, brilliant, kind, passionate, and fearless Spartans taken away from us. Today you heard a little bit about them and how beautiful they were. I'm here today to show that my generation will no longer tolerate this. Do better. If you're a Republican who wants to keep taking hush money from the NRA, we will vote you out. If you're more concerned about stripping rights away from the LGBTQ community than the uniquely American problem that is gun violence, we will be voting you out. If you claim to be pro-life and sit there and watch us die, we will vote you out. As we see from the hundreds of statistics around this country, gun control works, gun control is attainable, and right now, it's necessary, it's the bare minimum, and we will not stop fighting for that. Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks it's patriotic to own an AR-15, but you know what I think is patriotic? I think being patriotic is showing up to a rally to demand that every American citizen's life be taken seriously. That's what I think is patriotic. And I want to remind you that the gun legislation that our politicians are currently passing is the bare minimum. Every state deserves these basic protections. We as Americans have been conditioned to accept the bare minimum. We will not accept the bare minimum anymore. We deserve better than that. We do. How many more times will I have to hear about a child being buried because of an AR-15? How many more times are marginalized communities across this country? How many times are they going to lose their friends and families and neighbors due to gun violence? Military-grade weapons belong to our military and law enforcement. I do not want to hear that I'm infringing on your Second Amendment right. I don't care if they're fun. Oh my God, they're cool. I love to go shooting with my AR-15. Your AR-15 is not a toy. Grow up! Their intent when being manufactured, I'm saying when they're being manufactured, not when they're being purchased. When they are being manufactured, their intent is to kill dozens of people at a time. Is the army showing up at your house? What's going on? We need to grow up here. We need to do better. We need to do better. The amount of funding that politicians receive from the NRA to defend these ridiculous weapons is astounding, and it makes me sick. Politicians across this country will defend these senseless weapons like their whole life depends on it because of the thousands of dollars that the NRA puts into their campaigns. But let me tell you, GOP, let me tell you something. My life depends on these laws. Our lives depend on it. While your television ads and campaign events depends on taking down these laws, our lives actually, they depend on it. And I argue that our lives are a little more important than your television ads and campaign events. I don't know, that hot take. You are failing us, and we have our eyes on you. For once, be on the right side of history. America's watching you, we are tired, and again, we deserve more than the bare minimum. If you could repeat after me, enough is enough!
Enough is enough!
Louder, enough is enough!
Enough is enough!
Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Now it is time to hear from Paula Herbert, the president of the Michigan Education Association.
I mean, these students. Come on. Victor, thank you. You know, I'm Paula Herbert, the president of the Michigan Education Association. I'm a 31-year music educator. I'm from Macomb County. And you know, like all of us here, we've been to these events, right? I was just here last week, Tuesday. And since then, there's been another shooting at a school. I called my girlfriend, who's the president of the Colorado Education Association, where yesterday 2 administrators were shot by a student. As time goes by, our children, our educators are killed or injured, and here we go again. Not even 2 full weeks later. This is enough. 31 shootings in the U.S. in schools since January 1st, 2023. It's 31 too many. But it's other places, it's everywhere, right? So thank you for showing up here to say that the lives of our students and our educators are more important than somebody's right to have the immediate access to their weapon. And thank you to our new legislative leaders who are taking action with common sense gun safety reforms that are overwhelmingly supported by Michiganders who just want to be safe from senseless gun violence. While there's more work to be done, we're finally seeing historic progress. I was here the day after, on February 14th, to bear witness for the students of MSU when they rallied. And I didn't speak. I just stood out there like you and listened to story after story. I watched the turning of the tide, legislators sitting on the ground with these students to bear witness to their pain and to their story, that for them, they've never known a life without the fear of gun violence in their schools. See, my generation, we didn't think about that. And I was so proud of those legislators. Now we should be able to stand together on this, because the right to bear arms should never be more important than the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for victims free from gun violence. It's in our schools. We should be safe in our schools. We should be safe in our places of worship, in our stores, in the clubs, in restaurants, in our homes. Our communities are better off with sensible gun safety precautions. The common sense proposals that are overwhelmingly supported by voters must be taken up by the House. Let's pass these. The Senate has passed these. Come on, House, let's do your job. Because we cannot continue to watch innocent people, children, babies, gunned down by people who shouldn't have a firearm. We shouldn't be asking our communities to be torn apart by these tragedies and find a way to heal themselves. It is too late for too many children who have lost their lives. So we have a job to do, and that is protect them now. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you so much to both AFT and MEA for being our partners in making this happen. And now I would like to introduce our final speaker, who was one of the 5 injured at the Michigan State University shooting and is here to share their story for the first time with a crowd, Troy Forbush.
My name is Troy Forbush, and I am a survivor of the mass shooting that took place at Michigan State University on the night of February 13th, 2023. I and my fellow Spartans were simply carrying out our normal activities as college students, attending class in Berkey Hall, some studying or socializing in the MSU Union. For the next 3.5 hours, tens of thousands were left barricading in their dorms, housing in nearby apartments, terrified for their safety. This is more than being at the wrong place at the wrong time. This could happen anywhere, at any time in this country. This has to end. What I initially thought to be someone accidentally dropping a heavy textbook quickly turned out to be the piercing sound of a handgun being fired at me and my peers through the doorway entrance in the back of our classroom. I fell to the ground from my seat and tried to act as if I were already dead. As he panned the room with his handgun, I pled for my life and screamed, "Please don't shoot me." We were met face to face with pure evil. Seconds after being shot clean through the lung, 2 entrance wounds and 2 exit wounds, laying in a state of shock that will never leave my mind and forever haunt me, I could feel my phone under me and maneuvered to grab it and call my mom at exactly 8:18 p.m. At that moment, I was only thinking about keeping my eyes open for as long as possible and fighting for my life so that I could tell the person I care for most in life that I love her, that I had been shot, and that there was a shooter. My mom rushed to the scene, and she is nothing short of a superhero. I will never forget looking into the eyes of a peer who had taken off his shirt to assist me in applying pressure to my fresh gunshot wound. He asked me my name to keep me alert and stayed near, asking if anyone had a belt to spare. I will never forget him grabbing my hands, the paramedics grabbing my feet, and the pain of being dragged to a side aisle for easier means of care. They are lifesavers, and I am forever grateful. My family has since been with me during most 8/18s, but I still find it most difficult when I'm alone in a room by myself for too long. My mind can't help but wander back to that horrific night. There is a long, long journey of healing ahead of me before I will shake that indescribable trauma and anxiety. The classrooms in Berkey Hall did not have locks on them, just like at least 1,300 other classrooms across campus. Our doors were wide open for anyone to enter if they so choose. The university has since announced that they will be adding locks and updating security measures at night. But we cannot forget that it was too late for Alexandria, Ariel, Brian, myself, and the 4 others wounded in this senseless act. It should be shocking to everyone that we live in a society that requires places of learning to be heavily secured and locked because we cannot come together in the name of children's safety to end gun violence. This is more than locks on doors. There's a term that we use in education called preventative maintenance, where if we act now instead of waiting for another tragedy to act in this case, we save lives. Our right to achieve a higher education is sacred, and it should be treated as such by providing us with safe spaces to learn and thrive. This means enacting crucial and long overdue gun violence prevention measures immediately. Before the night of February 13th, I myself became desensitized to the news of another mass shooting occurring, as they happen more frequently in the United States than in any other country in the world. I graduated high school from Okemos Public Schools, a neighboring district to the Lansing area. Monday, February 6th, exactly 1 week before the tragedy happened, Okemos and several other high schools across the state of Michigan received a mirroring call that there was already a shooter within school grounds posing an immediate threat to every single innocent student and faculty member within the buildings. It was deemed a hoax. I'd thought a possible mass shooting happening right in my hometown was my worst nightmare imaginable. That is, until the following week when it happened to me. At Michigan State, I am a music education and vocal performance double major, and I am in my 4th year. Being a victim of gun violence and a mass shooting survivor is sadly the most relevant experience I will ever need as a future educator and an advocate for student safety. There just aren't words for how unfortunate it is that I acquired that teacher experience in this way. To quote my incredible sister, Sloan Forbush, from her most recent post commemorating the 1-month anniversary, we do not have the laws or infrastructure in place to prevent this uniquely American problem from continuing to devastate our communities. If you previously didn't know someone who has been directly impacted by gun violence, now you do. If you have been personally impacted, I am so deeply sorry. End quote. I, Troy Forbush, am now connected to thousands of Americans who have experienced or been inadvertently affected by mass shootings and gun violence. That number is only going to continue to grow exponentially if we don't advocate for change as individuals, community members, and people of the United States. There is much progress being made thanks to the hardworking gun violence prevention organizations and the powerful voices of student activists like March for Our Lives, who organized this rally today and who are not afraid to stand up for what's right. This work must continue, and we need everyone to join the fight for safety. As of today, there have been 136 mass shootings in 2023 alone. We are currently at day 82. 2 days since the last mass shooting took place Tuesday in Sumter, South Carolina, where 1 adult and 3 children were killed in what officials say was a domestic-related attack. The shooter died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. It has been 1 day since the last shooting on school grounds at East High School in Denver, Colorado. By March 23rd, 2022, exactly 1 year ago, 125 mass shootings had taken place. Senators, House representatives, and all government officials alike, I just ask one thing of you. Please, when voting for current and future gun safety bill packages, think about the people you love, the children in your lives whose future awaits them, and the lengths you would go to protect them and make sure they reach that future. Alexandria Werner, Ariel Diamond Anderson, and Brian Frazier. We will not forget. I repeat, we will not forget. Together, we are Spartan Strong. Thank you.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart to Troy and all of the amazing speakers we have had today. I don't know about y'all, but I think they're amazing. I'm so proud of them for coming up here and sharing their stories. It takes a lot of energy to turn your grief into action, and that's what everyone here today has done. So thank you for being here and for fighting with us in this battle to get gun violence prevention legislation through. We heard from survivors today, from Oxford, from Michigan State University, and from Parkland, Florida, who are sharing their stories, which is so vulnerable and powerful. And I need everyone to listen to what they said and take action. I need our lawmakers to hear their voices, hear their message, and take action now. What we're working on is simply the floor and not the ceiling. This is the bare minimum. We deserve to live without the fear of being shot. We need more legislation to be passed after this package. We need it to be pushed through and actually signed into law. We need the House to move immediately to pass extreme risk protection orders. And then more. I need every single one of you to take out your phone right now. Will you do that for me? What you're gonna do is go to your messages and text ACT to 954-954. And with that, you'll get pushed in to go to further actions to join us to fight for gun violence prevention legislation, because this is not the end. We have to continue pushing. So text ACT to 954-954 right now. We have so many shirts, snacks, and water. Please take them. Also, because I do not have much space in my house, and please, I do not want them anymore. I need you all to take action, whether it's calling your legislator, coming to an event, joining a chapter of March for Our Lives or any other gun violence prevention group. I need you to talk to your family and friends about why this matters to you and why you came here today, because this is not the end. We started 5 years ago, and we will continue until we win, and we intend to. Thank you.